Hi guys, this is Steph with Dotting with Dragons. Welcome in if you are back, and welcome here if you're new. We do a variety of things here, unboxings, tutorials, other projects and crafts. So join in if you like that sort of thing, then this might be up your alley. So today I want to talk about a very popular stitch along project that's going on in the cross stitch world right now, as well as us diamond painters. So the artist Flossy Fox Shop has licensed a lot of their images through a shop called Jaded Gem Shop, and you can see right here I have her website, Jay's website, pulled up. This is the listing for the Flower Dragon Meadow Stitch Along. And Jade makes the process really easy for you, so that is why I'm talking about Jade. I got all my materials from her. She made it super easy. And all you have to do is go to this listing on the website. I'll have it listed below. And it does tell you a little bit about what's going on with this. There is a second part to this. This is the listing you can get for the kit, which I'm going to show you. But you also have to buy the pattern from Flossy Fox. She has an Etsy shop. I will also link that below. And what she does is Flossy releases part of the pattern every month, I think on the 10th. So it started in September maybe? No, August. It started August 10th, I think. And then there was, second part was released on September 10th. And then I got my kit just before, or just after, I forget, the second part of it was released. So I have a little bit of catching up to do. So, and then, you know, it's October 2 today. So in a few days or so, she will release the next part of the pattern. So here's where you go and you get the pattern. This is not necessarily what's going to be in the pattern itself. This is just what is sort of like a preview. It's kind of a mystery thing. She releases the pattern as you go. You get a little story. It's really fun to read it through. And there's a couple of different Facebook groups too, just for stitchers and diamond painters, and then one just for the diamond painting side of things, because as diamond painters, we have to do it a little bit differently. So what I'm going to do is I just wanted to kind of introduce you to that project and what that is. I'm going to kind of get that out of the way so you don't see the light on it so bad. And then we've got the kit here, and this is what I'm going to use to kit up in. So this has been popular in some of the shops, small shops that do a lot of 3D printing. This is a tray, and I put my own, oh, I'm trying to see that there. There we go. I put my own stickers on it. So like, for instance, this is number 3. This is number 2. Okay, and like I just use my own label maker. I can put a link to that too, to give it, since there's no drills in here, I'm okay with doing this. So I gave it different labels, okay? And so this one in particular is from Carissa's Craft Corner. It's just, you know, it's just cool to have these. Now you did see that some of the trays fell out because I was literally holding the thing sideways, so don't do that. It is fun though, they do spin. I have my other cross stitch conversion project loaded up into a double set of these. This is a single, or wait, is it? Yeah, no, whatever, I think so. I think this has, let me see, how many colors did I put? I think it's 80. Yeah, this one has 80 trays in it, so I should have more than enough colors. I do not think this is an 80 color kit, but if for some reason it is more than 80 colors, I can just put in a tray. I wanted to use this because this is a longer term project for me, so it makes sense. I can take this piece. It's gonna have a lot of confetti because it is a cross stitch, or maybe not because it's cross stitch project, and then I can take this and put it down on my shelf and put it away until I'm ready to work on the next part. So let's see what's inside the kit from Jade, okay? And then I'll also tell you, so you buy the actual pattern from Flossy Fox, okay? So she emails you the pattern, and then it's up to you how you want to display that pattern. So I'm going to show you what I do with cross stitch projects. All right, let's see. So yeah, so that's it. So I'm going to get the canvas in here. Jade always includes these awesome release papers, which I don't normally use release papers. However, on cross stitch projects, I tend to do that because it helps me block out the extra stimulation of all the extra boxes and helps me kind of carve out like, okay, I'm just doing this part. I'm just doing this part. So here's our color list, and it looks like we've got 33 colors. That's super cool. I did order the version with a glimmer drill. So it looks like I've got one glimmer drill up here. That's kind of like the mica powder covered on these. Everybody calls them a different thing. There's another glimmer drill down here. So that's 2. Oh, there's 3 and 4. So it looks like we've got 4 glimmer drill colors. That's really cool. So yeah, so these are individual stickers. She's got your DMC on it, your quantity, all that good stuff. So then you have, and what I love about Jade is that she orders these canvases. She figures it out for you. She does all the work for you, really. You just have to buy it and then get the pattern, okay? So here's the kit, or here's the canvas. So you can see that it's oriented vertically, but I believe the pattern, and I do think they have an email, in the email I talk about this, I think in the pattern you're supposed to do this horizontally. So once you get the pattern, when Flossie emails you the pattern, she shows you like the overall size of it and then just kind of like what part you're doing. So you can tell where you're supposed to be working, and she does guide you about that. So this is the canvas. Jade's canvases are wonderful. They're very sticky here. I have been doing cross stitch conversions. I just mentioned that in my September month in review, and I kind of showed that. So I love her materials for these. So that's the actual canvas, and then look at these drills. Oh my god, they're so pretty. Okay, that is super cool. It comes in one of these, which is how she usually packages her pixel charted kits. She has 2 versions of kits she does. She does a hybrid, which is like, it's gotta be like 98% computer rendered, and then maybe with a little bit of hand touch up. And then she does pixel charted, which is like everybody's version of a person rendered, where there's a lot more blocking, less confetti. It's just a little bit more like, to me, user friendly. So this is definitely in the realm of that. Wow. I don't think I've ever worked with this color before. 3705. Let me see if I can get a better light up here. That is gorgeous. Okay, so what I do typically, and I kind of wanted to show you a little bit more than just 369. So because we have so much 369, that's probably going to be the background color, which makes sense because it's a meadow spring dragon flower type situation. So awesome. Okay, so what I do with this then is the next process for me would be kitting up. Okay, so what I do with these is I look at this and I say, okay, number 1 is G472. So what I would do, because I put this in my logbook and I label these one time with the number 2 and a little frog. And then that goes in there, and no matter what kit I work on, that's always going to be tray for number 2. So what I do is I go, okay, I've got number 1. So that would be this tray that I've already labeled number 1, or however you do it. I mean, maybe you do bottles, maybe you do Elizabeth Ward. You just want to stick the sticker on and put it in there and do it however you want. That's cool. I've got one of my cross stitch conversions all loaded up into an Elizabeth Ward system, and while it's not necessarily my most favorite, it is great for the long-term storage, okay? So anyway, I look at number 1, G472. G472. So I don't have a ton of drills here. I mean, there's only 33. So G472 is a glimmer. And where is it? It's not on this string. This is cool though. Check this out. This is G3865. So I know this is an option. Not everybody decides to get, let me turn this light up. Not everybody decides to get the glimmer options. I believe it's like a little bit extra, but see if I can get that to focus. There we go. So this is glimmer. And it's very pretty, like frosty, snowy. I'm trying to get it to focus. Okay, there you go. So that's one of our glimmers. Okay. A little bag of that. Here's our other one, G964. So again, this is not number one, but I want to show you what the glimmer options you get. Oh, that's so pretty. That's a teal. G472. Okay, so this is number one. Look at that. Oh my gosh. That's the most pretty mustardy puke yellow pixie color I've ever seen. Okay, so this, what I would do then is I would cut this off. Okay, now if I'm ready to kit it up, I will load it. I will take a full-on dryer sheet. Let me see if I have one right here. I'll unfold my dryer sheet. I will dump this out. I will dump it into the middle. I will fold this up. And I will do this, and I will do this. And they just sort of stay in here, and they get all destaticked. And then I would put them into my tray. Some other option I can do is, while I'm going through and doing this and looking them over, sometimes, oh, and especially when you have multiple bags, so this 369 color is not going to all fit in one tray, right? Like you can't put all those in one tray. That's crazy. So that's where like an Elizabeth Ward system would be really nice because you have, or the DAC option. So I'm just going to write number one on here. Then when I put this all up and it's time to kit up, or if I'm looking at my pattern and I need that color, I know where to go. So these don't really fit in this tray. So I cannot just put it in here and store it in the tray. And normally I would, because normally I'm working with trays like this from Bijou Bliss, and they are so easy. And this is what I do. I normally just do this, and then I pull it off the tray when I need it. So that's how I would manage that, okay? So kitting these things up is pretty simple. I just go through, I find out what the number is, like 369. So I'm going to show you this one because I think this one's going to be pretty, it's like, well, what do you do with that? There's so many drills. So I'm looking and I see 369. So these are not in DMC order, by the way. I see 369 down here. It is the last color. It is number 33. So that's going to make it really easy to remember. So what I have to do is see how it's all in one. All I have to do is write it on the first one. Now I have done it before where I go through and I write it on every bag. And I can do that. Now, one of these bags may fit into that little tray. The carousel trays are not, they don't hold a ton of drills. They're great for confettis. They're great for cross stitch conversions. I love using them for that, but they are not huge storage crazy situations. So there's a whole bunch of different ideas I have for what I can do with this. I am most likely to try to empty a bag into one of those trays. If I can't and I have a little bit of extra, I might just grab like a larger baggie and just dump them all in there. And then I have to have a place to store all these extra drills, right? So that's the only frustrating part about using something that's not designed to hold a ton of drills, is now I have to figure out what am I going to do with these extra ones. So on my desk, I actually keep the kits, the extras in their little pouches, and I keep it, I have a little bin sitting off over here that is filled with my excess baggies. So I can show you that actually right now. So I've got 2 kits in here. I've got my Soup Night from Jaded Gem Shop, and I really like how these kits, she actually puts them in the little zipper bags, and I print a little picture and put it on there. And then this is a bag that I got from a retreat I was too sick to attend, but I paid to go. And one of the cool things they had in the goodie bag was this Florida Sparkle Squad zip bag. And so inside here, I have all my extra drills for Waterway Wanderers, because Waterway Wanderers is kitted up in my Bijou Bliss storage tray tower that I have, and this kit is kitted up in a art dot system full of these trays. It's like a 60-piece set or something. So these guys are gonna go back in my little bin, nicely labeled and organized, and they sit off to the side of the table. So while I'm working on this, I might just decide to use one of my baggies like this and put them in my storage table. Or I'm sorry, put them in my storage bin that's sitting near my table. Okay, so that's how I would go about doing that. Now, cross-stitch conversions in general can be kind of confusing because you have to follow a pattern, right? And there's multiple ways of doing that. You can certainly just print the pattern out, use it on paper, and, you know, highlight the pieces that you've done. Let me show you an example. So I don't do that. I don't do that. I use what's called Pattern Keeper. It's for Android. I prefer it. I know you Apple users have Markup XP, but last time I looked into that, which was over a year ago, so it may have changed, you had to pay like an annual subscription fee to that. I personally I just don't believe in that. So if I can buy it once and have access to it, that's what I want to do. So I use my Google Play rewards, which are done based off surveys, and could use it to pay for this. So this is 10 bucks. These are all of my patterns. I do not own all of these kits. Okay, guys, I just don't. These are the kits that I'm like, every once in a while, if I can swing it, I will try to get one. But I have so many right now, and I'm so behind on my cross-stitch conversion that I already have, that I'm not doing it. I also have projects in here that I don't actually plan to buy anything for. I plan to use my spares and hope that that's enough, and if it's not enough, then I can look into buying more. Like this Mickey and Minnie and Cheshire Cat. Okay, like I have the canvases for those, and I have the patterns for them. But I don't have the drills because they're massive. Number one, they're really big canvases. Number two, I already have so many spares. And I feel bad about throwing away all my spares. And I have really good quality drill spares, like from Jaded Gem Shop and Diamond Art Club, and like these higher quality resin squares that I don't want to just get rid of them. I'm not going to say I'm a hoarder, but you know, like it kind of pays to be a little bit of a drill hoarder here because they're going to help me with these canvases. And I don't expect I'm going to be able to finish a whole canvas with what I have left over, but I have a lot of bags of 310. Let's just say I have a lot of spare 310, and it started looking like, you know, that probably would be a cool thing to do, so let's try it. So anyway, so these are my 2 cross-stitch conversions that I'm actually currently working on. Okay guys, I just wanted to take a minute and get all of my drill bags labeled and accounted for. And I wanted to talk to you about something that some of you new to cross-stitch conversions might find just a little confusing, okay? But have no fear, because Jade and Flossy Fox have got you back. So, on my list of what I have available here, I have some colors that don't really translate to floss, typical floss, so that thin thread that we use to actually make the cross-stitch pattern if you're doing cross-stitching, right? So diamond painting and cross-stitching with the floss colors and the DMC colors, there's a lot of overlap, but there's still some things that do not overlap. So for example, I have Glimmer Drill. For my drills, I have G472. Okay, now if I look in what I was given here, I will find G472. Okay, that was this color. It was a Glimmer Drill, right? So the thing is though, this isn't a thing in floss. And that only matters because our pattern that we're following is for cross-stitching. It's assuming we have floss. Now, because Flossy Fox and Jade are working together, Flossy Fox, if you bought the pattern, she came out with an email, and she has information in the Facebook group for this project. Hey, diamond painters, there's some DMCs on the pattern that you'll find, and here's what you should use drill-wise for those colors. Okay, So I received an email. I saw it plastered all over the Facebook group. There's a Facebook group for the stitch along, and then there's a separate group for the diamond painters, which I think I may have mentioned that before. So issues that might crop up specific to the diamond painters, you can get the help for. So if you can notice right here, I have written on here G472 DMC15. DMC 777, which I did receive, is DMC 35. And the only other one I have that for is down here, Glimmer Drill 3865 is Blanc. Okay, so why am I writing these random numbers and words next to what my drills are? Well, that matters, because when I go to my pattern here, number 1 up here, I have these organized. I have the numbers. You can organize them multiple ways, but I just do it in order of the number, like numerically. So this is number DMC 35. Now remember, in floss, there is a DMC 35 color. Okay, it's like this sort of purpley color that you can sort of see right next to the number. Okay, DMC 35. But what am I going to use for that? As a diamond painter, what am I going to use for that? So DMC 35, she said, she is in Flossy Fox, said, you guys are going to use DMC 777. See how I wrote that there? DMC 35 is 777. So when I look at my drills, this is the color as a diamond painter I'm going to be using in the pattern. So, okay. So we've matched up what her pattern says to the drills we actually have. So 35 is going to be, for me, 777. Okay, so what that means is when I'm looking at my pattern and I'm laying down drills, anytime I see, so this symbol, I forget what you call that symbol. It's in music and I can't remember what it's called. But when I see that symbol and then I come over here and say, okay, what DMC is that? Oh, it's DMC 35. Okay, well, for me, that's going to be 777. So what I would recommend is, if you, like many of us, like to use these labels on your containers, I would either, because when you peel these off, there's it's a nice long sticker, and it would be very easy to write 35 right next to this, right? Or because Jade provides so many extra cut stickers here, you could also write 35 on here, okay? And that way, when you're looking at your pattern, and I'll explain more in a minute, when you're looking at your pattern and you come across this symbol, you go, oh, that's right, as a diamond painter, I don't have 35. I don't have DMC 35. What is that? You can go to your containers and say, oh, yeah, okay, so it's this one, okay? It's a DMC number that I don't have, but it's 777, and that is how I've done all of my cross-stitch projects. This stitch along is pretty simple because there's only 3 of them, and they make sense, right? Like BLANC, Blanc, is, if we go all the way down here, okay, we go to this, and it is a symbol W on the canvas. Okay, now when I go, okay, well, clearly, like, that's not a DMC, right? It's an actual word. But when I went on my pattern here and I look at what is that, 3865, well, 3865 is a white color, and I'll show you. It's this, okay? It's that color, and I happen to have the glimmer version of it. Blanc, white, okay? So it kind of makes, there's some sense there, okay? And DMCs, it came out of France. So I can't remember what DMC stands for, but it is sort of a French thing. So I just wanted to explain that with the drills, that there are some colors on here that you're gonna find when you look at your pattern. It might seem a little confusing because you don't have those DMCs, but like for me with the special drills, there's only 3 of them. And I think with the non-special drills, there's still only 3 of them because you're doing the same. If you didn't get the glimmers, you'd be doing the same DMC. There just wouldn't be any glimmer on it. There's a 3865 and a 472 DMC that are not shiny. So I just wanted to explain that part of it. The next part, I want to explain. Oh yeah, and for number 33, because I was talking about I had a lot of these drills and how all those bags of drills, there's no way they were going to fit in this tray. So I can work with it like this, right? And if I want to multi-place this, which is probably what's going to end up happening, is I'll probably put all the other drills down first and then fill it in with the background color. I might even take these drills, because I love to multi-place, and because I can't get a huge multi-placer in this little tray, I might end up using a spare tray that I have to put them in, fill them in, and then just use this as another storage. But I did end up using an old prescription bottle and putting all of, it's a lot. It's that background color, you get a lot of it, which is pretty cool. So this is all DMC 369 number 33 Spring Dragon Stitch Along. I made a little label for it because this stitch along is going to go for a while, and this will get stored in my little box off to the side that I said. So yeah, so I just wanted to kind of show you that and the drills. Next, I'm going to get out the canvas, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how to help orient yourself on your canvas so that you make sure you're putting your drills down in the right part of the canvas. And I'll be right back with that. Okay, so as you can see in front of me here, I have the actual canvas that Jade sends. This is a bit more specific to Jade's canvas if you decide to source your own canvas material, which by the way is totally an option for this entire stitch along. If you wanted to just seek out the DMCs yourself and buy them independently, or perhaps you wanted to use your spare drills for this project because you have all of these colors in the right amounts, and you wanted to buy a sized canvas, you can do that. You can buy blank canvases all over the place. There's all sorts of shops where you can do that, but you will end up either having to figure out the size of it yourself or cutting it down to size. So I'm going to talk a little bit now about this specific canvas for Jade, okay? So as you can see right here, I have it oriented as it's printed. We have Jaded Gem Shop's logo right here. We have her socials. We have JM. I'm going to peel this back to help with the glare. JMBC 42.25 by 46.25. Now that would be in centimeters. Okay, so that's the size of this canvas. So what is this? This is a custom sized canvas, which you can email her and you can ask her. You can actually just buy these canvases just from her. Okay, so, and you'll see here it says start here. Okay, so don't start here. Okay, because that is just your a lot of cross-stitch conversion projects will have something like that where it's like, oh yeah, this makes sense for my project. That's not going to make sense for this one, and I'll explain in a moment. So if I'm lifting this up here, so this is, the canvas is not a complete square. It's hard to get it zoomed out enough, but it is more of a vertical orientation with how it's printed. Okay, so that's not the way that we're going to start our project. Now, how do I know? Okay, so if we notice, most of the squares on here are the 10 by 10. And you can see, I got my tweezers here, and you can see here these little numbers. It starts 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then it goes down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because the canvas is this non-square, interesting size, we're going to have some squares that aren't full 10 by 10s. Let me show you what I mean. Okay, so down here, if we're orienting the canvas with the printing of the logo at the top, if you look at the bottom right corner, you're going to see you have a different size here. Okay, there's a 10 by 10 above it, but below the 10 by 10 there, it's a 5 by 10. Okay, so you can see the little numbers here go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if I started my project here, it would end up looking different than if I started it up here, because eventually, depending on how I orient the canvas, I might end up running out of room, and I don't want to do that, right? So I'm going to look at the other corner. Now let's see, how is this one different? Okay, this one is 5 by 7. Okay, so that's the third corner we have here that's different. And what about this top right corner? Okay, we've got a 7 by 10. Okay, so how do I go from, I've got this beautiful canvas, I have the pattern, I have the drills, I want to start now. So how do I go about figuring out which corner or where I start? So the stitch along is special because you don't get the whole pattern at once, right? You only get parts of it every month. So currently it is Sunday, October 5th, okay, for me. So the thing is that there's been 2 portions of this pattern have been released, and the third one is about to be released, and that'll mark our halfway point on this project. Now, I haven't even started it yet. So I'm going to be starting with obviously the first portion of the pattern. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just, let me leave the canvas here. I'm going to look at the pattern in my app here. Okay, and the easiest thought process for me was, now I have the whole pattern. This is the orientation of the pattern. It's just so zoomed out that there's no way they could put in the symbols in here, okay? So there's no spoiling. So what I'm gonna do, which makes the most sense to me, is start at one of the corners. Okay, well, how do I decide which corner I start at? So if I'm looking at this orientation, I'm not going to be able to know that, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a color. So I picked a color down here to start at the pattern where I was actually given that part of the pattern. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to zoom into this corner down here. And as you can see, things start to become more apparent, and I don't want to spoil the pattern. So I'm going to show you, this is the absolute bottom left corner of the pattern, okay? And I highlighted this green color because let's say that's what I'm going to work on, which would be perfect because there is this drill goes in the bottom left hand corner of the pattern. Okay, well, that's the bottom left hand corner of the pattern. How do I know where to put that on this canvas? How do I know, is this one the bottom left corner? Is that the bottom left corner? Like, how do I know how I'm going to orient this thing to match my pattern here? Well, Pattern Keeper and printed patterns even are pretty cool because what they do is they give you a sense of what situation you have going on with your squares. So you can see this line right here. All right, so if I zoom you out a little bit, okay, so if I zoom you out a little bit, this right here is a 10 by 10 square. How do I know that? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I know this is a 10 by 10 square, which means that right below it, I don't have a full square for this pattern, right? I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 10. Okay, so I'm going to look on my canvas for where I could put these drills where there is a 5 by 10 square, not a 7 by 10, not a 10 by 10, but a 5 by 10. So I'm going to look on the canvas now, and I'm going to say, okay, so our top left corner, if we're orienting with the branding on top, so this corner, we only have 4 corners, thankfully. This corner is officially a 10 by 10 square, okay? So I know for a fact I'm not going to start there, okay? Which means I know that if I was looking at the corner like this, I wouldn't start here. I wouldn't turn it this way and start here either because that's still a 10 by 10 square no matter how you turn it, okay? So then I'm going to say, okay, well, I know I'm not going to start here. What about here? Well, let's take a look at this, okay? Because this is not a 10 by 10. This is a 10 by 7 square, right? Because we can even see it's very nicely counted out for us. So this is a 10 by 7. So I'm not going to do it like this. I'm not going to turn it and do it like this. Okay, because number one, this is a 10 by 7. And remember, we needed a 5 by 10, not a 7 by 10. Also, if I oriented the canvas like this and I started here, we're talking the bottom, that's the bottom right corner. Okay, so once again, we're looking at it with a printing on top. How about this corner? Okay, what's this one? Well, let me see if I can get it to focus. This is a 5 by 7 corner. Remember, we needed a 5 by 10 corner. Okay, so also that is the bottom right corner of this canvas. And you can see branding is at the top, so I'm showing you the bottom right. Now, also, I know I'm not going to look at it this way because remember on the pattern we were looking for a 5 by 10 and it's the bottom left corner. So even if I orient the paper like this, the canvas like this, if I orient the canvas like this, I think, okay, well, see, that is technically the bottom left corner. Well, it is a 5 by 7. So that's still not going to go because remember, we need a 5 by 10, right? So now I'm going to look at my last corner. What do I have here? Okay, look at this. It's a 5 by 10. Okay, that's what we needed on our pattern. We needed a 5 by 10, right? So, but I know I'm not going to do my 5 by 10 square like this because when I look at my pattern, oops, when I look at my pattern, I'm looking at it like this. This is the bottom left corner of my pattern and it is a 5 by 10. Okay, so it's like exactly half of one of these squares. Okay, and I think, okay, well, how am I oriented? Let me zoom you out. See all the little green highlights? That's our bottom left corner that we're going to be starting in. Okay, so what I do is when I look at my canvas, I say, okay, what would make most sense? What would make most sense is we've got the 5 is vertical, the 10 is horizontal. Let's look at our pattern here. If I zoom you in, okay, and I'm not spoiling anything by showing you this. Look at this. Look at the orientation of this. Okay, you've got 5. Your 5 is vertical and your 10 is horizontal. Okay, so when I start my pattern, I'm literally going to be starting it here in the bottom left corner, oriented like this. Not like this, not like this. I'm going to do it the way that it is on my pattern. Okay, it is 5 the vertical and it is 10 the horizontal, and nicely it is just like this. Okay, so literally the canvas is oriented like this with the branding at the top, but my pattern release for section 1 of 6 is here. Okay, so that makes it pretty easy to follow that. So I just wanted to make that one a little bit more clear for the rest of the project so that it just kind of makes a little bit more sense. Now, I'm going to be including my progress in these in my month in reviews. I'm also going to create a playlist for not just this stitch along, but also cross stitch for conversion. So if you have any questions about how to do a cross stitch conversion project and you want a video with a little bit more details about that, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm more than happy to do that. I'm also going to come back after I have done the first part of the stitch along, so it will be included in the month in reviews, but it's also going to be included in its own thing, and I'll make a little video just kind of talking a little bit about how that's going and what that's looking like. So if you have any questions or you're interested in that, like I said, leave me a comment below. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up so that we know that this is something that you guys like to see. It's a free way to help the channel if you subscribe and give a like. Let me know your thoughts. Is this something you would try? Is it something you've been watching other people do? Are you curious about it, but you just a little intimidating? Have you done cross stitch before? Have you actually tried cross stitching? That's something I'm curious about and I'd like to actually try. My mom's a cross stitcher, so who knows? So maybe I'll bring a little bit of that to the channel. So let me know, and you guys have a great week, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye!